Hello there, C-Note here, and welcome back to DOPEamine. I'm your host, Christian Rivera, and today I wanted to talk about, what's the topic? I've got, I keep forgetting. It's, are INTPs easily overlooked? Which is kind of ironic that I forgot the title of this video. But essentially, what I wanted to cover is a question that I've seen, not really a question, but like a statement that I've seen kind of come up over and over again, is this expression of like, as an INTP, I'm very easily overlooked. I'm ignored. No one sees me or notices me or is aware of my problems or can help me with my problems or etc. 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 It's sort of like this lone wolf mentality. I cannot find a place for this water bottle. There it is. Okay. Yay. And in a way, it's something that just I realize I've felt in myself as well as an INTP. This like the world doesn't fit into my mode of thinking. School isn't designed for me. Social relationships are not designed for me. There are some aspects of the internet that are not designed for me. There's jobs are not kind of built for my mode of thinking. All sorts of other things around. And there's sort of like two approaches that I want to cover related to this. One is the kind of reasoning, the logic of that we use as an excuse to not try to make life work. But then there's the actual rational, legit reasons for accepting that is an aspect of our reality. But that's an aspect of every personality type's reality, even though there are certainly cultures or certain means of being around the world that fit certain personality types. Like each culture has kind of its own personality culture that like someone can be born into and have an easier ride, right? And that can be class-based, race-based, status, money that you're born into, any number of reasons. Like there's a wide array of reasons why somebody may or may not have an advantage in life, right? So let's start with the excuse part, because it's really what's hard is because like it's hard to use the word excuse, because I don't mean to be brash. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, because I got that a lot growing up, is this idea of like you're just making excuses when I'm giving reasons for things, right? And I understand that there is a difference between giving reasons and excuses. And your reasons for looking at things like may legit be reasons, and saying that like you're overlooked and that the world doesn't care about you. Like they may be legit reasons, and it's important to write those down, because those are emotional assertions, and emotional expressions need to be written down or expressed or something like that, right? So I think it's important for you to say that and share that and be open about that, in maybe not necessarily a public place, but just write it down or share it with a confidant and start talking about how like I feel like I'm ignored. I feel like a lone wolf. I feel like I can't get anywhere. I feel like I can't connect. I feel like I can't do X, Y, and Z. And I think those things are important to express, because then you may get some validation from someone. You may be able to get a new perspective that had not been considered before from this other person, or they may offer you an opportunity that you maybe didn't know that you had before, now that you're kind of, surrounded by a new circumstance or a new person, right? And that may be one of the things too, is that your circumstances may not be enabling your skill set, right? So while as an INTP, it's not as if you're born into the world and suddenly everything just naturally fits and everyone cares about your experience and circumstances, it is something where we have to kind of make that happen, right? We have to make ourselves relevant, make our mode of thinking relevant, make our what we want relevant, and not necessarily disguise complaining about it as logic, because that tends to happen, is this feeling of like, well, this is this X, Y, and Z, and it's like what you're really saying is like, I don't know, right? It doesn't come out that way. It comes out in the, nobody really cares, and It's just not, it's just very stoic about it, right? But inside, it's what's really happening is like, I'm stressed about this. I'm freaking out about it. I want someone to care about me. I want to I want my talents to be appreciated. I want my skill set to be nurtured, or I want to feel like I even have talents. I want to feel like I can have a job that I want. I want to feel like I can get the partner that I want. I want to feel like I can do whatever I want, right? And so that's a massive challenge for an INTP, because being introverted thinking dominant, or being just generally being an introverted intuitive thinking and perceiving type, first of all, being an introvert can feel like it's really hard to have your voice heard, because it's unnatural. It's physically unnatural, especially when you're younger, to express yourself, to say what you're thinking, unless it's in contradiction to someone else's thought process, right? Because you can't help it. But that's really the FE noticing that you need to speak up about a distinction that you care about, right? So that's important, that anytime you're expressing something that's typically an extroverted feeling, finality, or a decision that you've made, in a sense, that's why like doing these videos can be hard, because I'm expressing some extroverted feeling here to connect with you, to vibe with you, to try to help you and support you in your, in your growth journey. So that's a challenge as an introvert in general, to speak up and express yourself in any kind of way. Now, that's why the growth with our secondary function of extroverted intuition is important, because if that's something that's a little bit more natural to an INTP, and if you can start to be more playful, to be more expressive, to talk in a more flexible pattern recognition kind of way, show up to the world and just be like, willing to adapt to whatever the situation is, then those emotional expressions can come out, but they can also feel less heavy and less daunting, because they're sort of filtered through comedy, or filtered through a sense of doubt, in a sense. Like extroverted intuition is about open loops. It's about possibilities, right? It's not about certainties. And so if you're an introvert of any kind, really, and showing up to a party or a situation, and you're trying to cling to that introverted space, then what you're going to be doing is bringing those introverted judgments, that introverted thinking for INTPs, to situations in which it's not really necessary. People will be more responsive to really that perceiver side of you. That's what you bring to the world. That's how you show up to the world. Perceivers show up with their perceiving function. Judgers show up with their judging function. So as a perceiver, if you're showing up in that natural way based on your brain wiring, showing up as a perceiver is going to get you some of that attention that you want, to get you noticed, to get you seen, and maybe give you opportunities, and perhaps be appreciated by someone that you're attracted to or fascinated by, right? And I think that's the problem, is that we're trying too hard to bring our introverted thinking to every situation, and we want that to be appreciated. But in a sense, introverted judging functions are an intimate place, right? That, like, being able to share your thoughts, their full, pure, unfiltered thoughts with someone, and have them be held and appreciated and understood, is an intimate thing. It really requires getting to know someone, and getting to know someone may require some uncomfortable things, meaning small talk, or vibing, or sending someone a gift, or doing some of the FE things, extroverted feeling things, or showing up to situations in which your introverted thinking is not relevant, right? Or not completely relevant. You may be more selective about when you bring those things into play, right? So what I highly suggest, and this is something I cover in both Cosmic Calibration and the INTP Empowerment Guide, which are extended courses for INTP personality growth, is to go out into situations expecting to just let go of any preconceived notions that you have about what the situation is going to be like, what the people are going to be like, what thoughts you're going to bring to the table. Maybe you can rehearse some jokes if you have that in your palette, but essentially, to not be overlooked as an INTP, you have to show up as an INTP, like the best version of yourself, right? And while there are definitely other personality types where their unhealthy versions of themselves are not overlooked because they're blasting their energy out there everywhere, namely some extroverts who are perhaps looping or are pretty young and just using that function to vibe and connect. They may not be building lasting relationships. They may be building temporary bonds based on just like loosely vibing because they're maybe not exploring their introverted side as much. But you've done a lot of exploration of your introverted side, most likely. And particularly if you're in your 20s, maybe early 30s even, it's time to bring some of that out into the world. Not to, again, bring a scripted version of yourself out into reality and try to prove yourself right and try to inject your theories into a conversation and make everyone super uncomfortable by ruining the vibe every time. But by listening, by being a part of what the group is doing or being a part of what the situation is, maybe just sitting back and enjoying something. You don't have to actually scrutinize it. And you can just go watch a movie and like learn to like things. I think that's a major element as well, is like learning to actually like things and see it for its beauty, for its effort, for the what it's trying to convey. And like that's part of extroverted intuition as well, is like some optimism, because optimism leads to a desire to take more risks and experience more possibility. Otherwise, you're just too scared. You just know everything. And if you feel like you know everything, then why would you try doing anything else? Why would you leave your house? Why would you whatever? Which I already covered in a video called the INTP Logical Paradox, which is all about the loop. And I've got a couple videos about INTP looping and all that stuff. So I would encourage you to go check those out if that's something you're struggling with. So, we kind of covered all of the excuses part of things, and really that all of that led into what I just mentioned, which is like having to put ourselves out there. And I guess there's another aspect to think about too, is that I'm reading a spiral dynamics book by I don't remember their names. What is it? Don Beck and Christopher Cowan. And in that book, they're talking about spiral dynamics, which is more about worldviews and bigger picture scopes of the world kind of thing. And which is interesting. I think any INTP would probably appreciate it, especially if you're in your 30s and you're kind of like thinking in more political terms and stuff like that. There's an element that they talk about when if someone is ready to move, or a country or something is ready to move from one worldview to another, that there are basically three states of being within a worldview that may either keep you or prime you for a new step. And that's basically open, arrested, or closed. And now open is obvious. Open means that you're essentially ready to vibe. And so I'm actually what I'm actually referring to here is let me take a sip of my orange juice. There was far less in there than I was expecting. So I'm just gonna put that over there. What was I saying? I'm really talking about whether or not other people, and getting to know over time. This is like practice with extroverted feeling, really, is getting to know the energetic vibe of people who are open, arrested, or closed. Meaning, if someone is open to being more playful, or open to ideas, or open to being perhaps corrected, or corrected is not the right word. I hate correcting. It's more so the idea of asking questions. It's like if someone's willing to have you ask them a question about their thought process, in a sense, then that's more of an open state. Some people can be arrested meaning kind of just like stuck in their ways, but not so closed that they just won't even listen to you at all, or just like kind of running on autopilot. But they may have some things that they're just kind of like working through. Maybe it's like a mental health struggle, or they're stuck in their job, or they're stuck in a relationship. There's like a stuckness, the idea of arrested, right? So if you're talking to someone who is struggling with their relationship, and to you as an INTP, like when they're talking, like it may be obvious that you're just like, just leave this person. What are you doing? But there's so many nodes in someone's brain tendrils that keep them from leaving. It's like the old Dane Cook joke where it was like, I can't leave him. He has all my CDs. It's never that simple, but a lot of people really have a personal struggle with being able to take their autonomy and actually go and do something else and leave that situation. It takes a lot more bravery than just the logical connections that we can make around it, right? So that involves a little bit more of a delicate touch, and something that may be a little bit harder. It doesn't mean just looking for open people and demonizing arrested or closed people, but kind of knowing which energies you're around can kind of help you to be able to vibe with people a little bit better. And then, closed, I think, is a little bit more obvious as well. People who are just like maybe politically or religiously fervent, and they're just stuck in their ways, and they don't even want to look at you because maybe you look like someone that they don't vibe with, right? Like I've gotten that all sorts of ways in my life. I'm Puerto Rican. I've got a big beard. I've been stopped at TSA. There are certainly people who are arrested to my type of person, either physically or my personality. Maybe some people don't want to deal with, introverted thinking types of behaviors or responses. I mean, I've seen some stuff on the internet where people are just like, anyone who listens to Joe Rogan is an asshole or something like that. And I'm like, that's a large group of people, but cool. Like things that are like that, like generalized, intolerant statements tend to be people who are a little bit more in a closed state of mind. And I think those people are typically not very helpful to our ability as an INTP to connect, right? So while there's this genuine feeling of like being overlooked as an INTP, there's also this feeling of like, yeah, good in some ways. Like while there are, like I said, some people, some extroverts in particular, who maybe invite too many people into their lives, too many varieties of people, too many, I don't want, like toxic. I say toxic in quotes because it's like people who are in sort of maybe immature, or they're young, or they're like kind of really in their ego. That's what I mean when I say toxic. And they're kind of letting that into their life because they want connection, even if it's a weak connection or a negative connection. Like they want to overvalue that sense of connection, whereas INTPs, we undervalue connection often. And so it can be really helpful actually for us to have started behind the line and have very little connections, because then we can be much more careful about the connections that we do have and build richer, stronger bonds with fewer people. Now, I've built bonds with people over my life. People have come and gone. That's just kind of like a natural flow of existence. And you're also one of almost 8 billion people. So that's like a level of insignificance that you might have to start getting used to. Right? And that's just like the reality of existence. And that's really what I wanted to land on is that there is very much a reality of why you may feel or actually be overlooked as an INTP, because there's 8 billion people. You're going to be overlooked by someone. And if you feel like you're being overlooked by everyone, then maybe that's partially on you, or I'd say like 80% on you as an INTP to grow and start to stretch yourself and to get out there and find the right people. Maybe you need to change your location. Maybe you need to change the groups that you're involved in or talking to. Maybe you need to assess whether or not you're open, arrested, or closed in certain situations, and start to assess, who you may or may not be willing to connect with. And then also, if you're using your logic to keep you from connection. If you're saying, you come close to a person, and or maybe you went on a date and you keep scrutinizing and finding all sorts of different reasons why not to like this person or that person, or well, maybe one little thing holistically, ruins your experience with a person, and then you are applying that caricature to all sorts of different other people, and then you're excluding those people, right? And so you're just kind of like rampant stereotyping or bringing your prejudice towards people, right? And that happens. Everybody's got prejudice. Like, been there, done that, right? And I still do it all the time. I'm not calling you a bad person, or I'm not saying that you're being unreasonable, but it's just overvaluing that dominant function of introverted thinking and using some extroverted feeling unconsciously to bundle groups of people and then make those assertions about those people. But the introverted thinking part of it is creating all sorts of logic around why you need to stay in your house, why you shouldn't smile at the cashier at a grocery store, or masks or not, I guess. Smile with your eyes, by the way. When you smile, you're smiling with your eyes. When you just like look and you're like, it's very uncomfortable. You smile. You smile with your eyes. That's how you do that. I don't know if you've ever seen an extroverted... I mean, I don't have the greatest teeth, but it's fine. And don't worry about that too. Honestly, I've been insecure about my teeth all of my life. I've got them fixed once, and to where they are now, and this is the best that it's ever been. But don't worry about it. It's really the eyes, right? It's the eyes. Your mouth and the whole thing follows everything just like beams, but the eyes are where smiles really come from, or that's what people recognize as like feeling safe, when someone's being pleasant, right? So learn some niceties, pleasantries. Just if you're going to the grocery store, just say like, what, I'm gonna smile at the cashier. I'm going to consciously make this a thing. And if you do it consciously enough, it's like the fake it till you make it thing. And then you'll start doing it. So, practice those sorts of things. Anyway, we've got more things like that in our INTP empowerment guide, which I'll put a link to below, and the cosmic calibration course. So cosmic calibration is specifically about extroverted intuition growth, which involves a little bit of spiritual woo-woo esoteric stuff, but not so much that it's turning an INTP off. It's for INTPs, so I'm connecting the logic to why extroverted intuition is helpful for growth. And then the INTP empowerment guide is about growing all of your functions and bringing in shadow functions into your growth as well, to understand how you can integrate some of those, integrate and accept the other sides of your personality, the shadow parts of your personality. And then also, we just opened a membership for $29 a month for a few of basically all of our mini courses, and then any mini courses going forward fit into that membership as well. And I'm also working on setting up a community in the back end, so you can join there, talk to each other and talk to me, ask questions, connect, vibe, and all that fun stuff. So check out those options below. If none of that works, that's totally fine. Like and subscribe, hit the button. It might be this way, hit the button and the bell icon. And so I drop these videos sporadically. So if you hit the bell icon, you'll get notified when a video goes live, because I'm not really sticking to a specific schedule. And then you can watch them whenever you'd like. And let me know in the comments if you have questions, requests for future videos, and if you are still feeling overlooked, or what your relationship to feeling overlooked is like. Maybe I didn't fully cover it. Is there something that I missed? Is there something you're feeling stuck on? I would love to know what your situation is and how I can help you. So I think that's really it. So I have been C-Note. Thank you for watching DOPEamine, and take care of yourselves. And I don't know, go drink some water. Go eat a banana. Go for a walk. Poor Pikachu. Sorry about my mess. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.